Today we'll be learning some tips on how to keep the fleas and ticks off of your furry friends this spring, some important information about the upcoming annual town meeting, and a new form from the North Andover Police and Fire Departments that you might want to check out. All of these stories and more coming your way on this edition of the North Andover Journal. Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of the North Andover Journal. My name's Morgan Healy and I'm your host. The warm weather is finally approaching, and you know what that means, that fleas and tick season is just around the corner. Our pet health correspondent, Dr. Krista Vernaliken, and her friend, Dr. Lindsay Rensulo, sat down with us to discuss 3 different types of flea and tick preventatives: topicals, orals, and collars. Let's see what they have to say.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Krista Vernaliken, your pet health correspondent, and I'm here today with Dr. Lindsay Rensulo, also from Belger Veterinary Hospital, and we're talking about tick control as well as flea control. So Lindsay, what do you like? You like topical products, right?
Yeah.
What do you like about them?
And the thing that's great about topical products is you can use them in younger patients. So some of the other products we'll discuss today, patients have to be older than 6 months. And so at that first puppy visit or first kitten visit, you're able to sort of administer that topical product right then and there in the veterinary office, which is really nice. They're also, majority of the time, like a once a month product that you apply. And so, you know, it's easier for some people to always remember to do something on the first of the month, let's say. Other things that I like about it is they're very fast in how they will kill the fleas and ticks. A lot of them kill them within, honestly, like some of the products are within an hour. And they tend to be some of the cheaper products that could be out there. So it's a benefit as well.
And I like orals.
Okay.
So I've become a very big fan of orals recently. So there's only a few orals that are on the market. So they have a very low risk of side effects to the pet. They're easy to administer. You know, you're given your oral heartworm pill, so just give this one as well. And some of them actually are extended. So there's one product particularly that lasts for 3 full months. So you just give it so infrequently that it's so much easier to give it once every 3 months than every single month. And they're also really, in terms of quickness of tick kill, they're comparable to the fastest of the topicals and much better than some of the slowest of the topicals.
So other than our topicals and the orals, there are topical collars or collars that dogs can wear. Cats as well. Cats as well. What would you find to be some of the benefits for those collars?
I mean, in terms of collars, there is a very wide disparity in different effectiveness of the different types of collars. So there are particular ones that I think are very effective in repelling the ticks and fleas, which is kind of unique to collars. Many of them last actually 6 to 8 months. I mean, you were saying if you're going to be forgetful and you're not sure you're going to remember to do stuff, put a collar on your pet and it can go pretty much the whole season. In terms of cost, they're probably the cheapest. You know, per month cost, a collar will do you probably a third of the cost of most of the others.
And I would say probably the biggest complaints I get from clients from putting on a collar is that they just don't want to have that constant pesticide on their pet. And so I can understand that if they have young kids or if they have cats, there are certain collars that cats can't really be around. And you also can't take on and off the collar at your disposal. You need to make sure you keep the collar on.
And then they can also eat the collar. So if they eat the collar, they can have serious side effects or obstructions, and we would not want that to happen as well.
I mean, either way, there are a wide variety of products that are available. And so it's really just being able to talk to your veterinarian and finding out what product works best for you and your pet.
So we did also get an email question, which was about what's called wool sucking in cats. So we had an owner email us about a cat that likes to suck on things in the house, particularly fabrics and things like that. That is a common thing in young cats, especially that were pulled from their mom a little bit young. They often do that as sort of a comfort thing, sort of like thumb sucking in babies. With cats, though, as they get older, they often will outgrow that, but you can help them along a little bit if you do some active playing with them every time you observe that behavior, kind of take them out of it by going and playing with a laser pointer or some other toy that will engage them. That's a great treatment for a lot of behavioral problems in cats. You have anything to add?
No, I actually had a cat that my in-laws had that would suck the earlobes of anybody that walked into the house.
It's fun.
It's fun. It can be endearing as well. But
Yes.
yes, there are things you can do to help that cat kind of break that cycle. Yeah.
So that's all for this month from Belger Veterinary Hospital. Join us next month. We'll be talking about allergies in pets as springtime rolls around.
Thank you so much.
Carol Majahad from the North Andover Historical Society introduced us to Bob Allegretto, a local Revolutionary War reenactor. We caught up with Bob to see how they prepared for the recent Patriots' Day weekend battle.
Hello, I'm Carol Majahad from the North Andover Historical Society. Now this month we have something a little different to share with you. I'd like to introduce one of our members, Bob Allegretto. He is a reenactor for the Revolutionary War, and we're very happy to have you in today and share something about what it's like to be a reenactor.
Basically what we do every year is try to prepare for Patriots' Day by making sure our equipment is ready to go. And as reenactors, we try to do portions of battles to educate the public as to what actually happened on the time, or at the time, and ideally on the location, and as accurately as we can with uniforms, clothing, weapons, and the way we portray people. But the behind-the-scenes portion of the events take a lot of work as well. So part of what we do is plan ahead, make sure we have the right people in the right places, portraying the right portions of the battle that we plan to show for the public. And part of my job will be, as I said, to keep things coordinated, working with the Park Service, the National Park Service, which is Minuteman National Park, reenactor groups, the commanders of each unit, and the public safety officers to make sure that this program goes off without a hitch, safely, accurately, and we enjoy it as well. So to start with, you'd have a pair of breeches. This particular pair is wool. Black wool breeches are very common in the time period. I also would wear leather, which I'm not sure I'll wear tomorrow. Typical socks, long wool socks, hand knit, shoes. Sometimes I would wear boots. I have a few back here. A little waistcoat, and an outer coat, which is just a gentleman's coat. Everybody at that time would have worn a coat that was fairly long, long tails, very common. You can refer to it as a frock, but it's basically a coat. And everything here is hand-stitched, in this case all by me, with the exception of the socks. Some would have worn a sword or carried a sword, so I haven't decided which one yet. We'll get there. Part of the way we prepare for these events is to look at period research or research period documents. And one of the great documents here in town is a journal written by James Stevens, who was part of the North Parish of Andover, now North Andover, and fought during the American Revolution. James Stevens was part of the North Parish militia, who marched out from then Andover on his way to Concord. But as it turns out, they got there late enough that they were not part of the action, but he did remark in his journal seeing bodies of British soldiers along the way. I believe he ended up in what is now Billerica, actually Billerica then as well. James Stevens also went on to fight in the Battle of Bunker Hill. The James Stevens Journal is currently owned by and in possession of the North Andover Historical Society, and was recently sent out to be digitized, and that will be available soon. This is something a lot of us want to read, and this is part of how we find our research on what happened then, what people wore, how they reacted, how they planned, how they wrote about it after the fact, which is the most interesting part, is how people took what was happening in this country.
On April 5th, the high school hosted the annual All-Town Band Festival. Students from the middle school and the high school got together to put on a concert with a halftime performance by the color guard and drumline. Let's take a look. like to see the event in its entirety, you can catch it right here on the CAM station. Check out the North Andover CAM's website for the rebroadcast schedule. Superintendent Dr. Jennifer Price sat down with us to talk about some important issues that will be faced at the town meeting this coming May 10th.
Hi, this is Dr. Jennifer Price, the superintendent here in the North Andover Public Schools, and for this segment of the Journal, I wanted to take a moment to talk about the important issues in front of all of you at town meeting on May 10th at 7 p.m., especially as they relate to the North Andover Public Schools. There are a number of issues that are going to be discussed at town meeting, the first of which is actually related to the special education contingency that was approved last year at town meeting. This contingency allows for unanticipated special education costs, and this year the North Andover Public Schools is going to be asking to access $150,000 of that special education contingency fund. As you can imagine, we've had students move into the district or students really struggle and need out-of-district placements that were unanticipated. We're actually pleased that the number isn't larger than $150,000 because in the past those numbers have actually gone north of that, but we are going to be asking to be able to access that money, and it's part of the warrant. The second is really want to talk about the fact that we have a budget in front of the town, and the budget is a 3.7% increase, which is in line with the rest of many of the departments here in the North Andover Public Schools. And it's important to understand that that budget does a number of things. About 3% of that increase is for level services, just what we're doing right now this year in the North Andover Public Schools. But we do have a few proposed increases that actually come directly from my entry plan. The first is adding an additional librarian here in the North Andover Public Schools at the elementary level. You may not know, or you may know, that we currently only have one librarian for 5 elementary schools. As I talked to people all over North Andover this summer, people thought that that was not acceptable, and frankly, I agree. So our budget increases the librarian staffing. It also brings world language into the middle schools, something that we used to have. We're just restoring that back. It also creates an opportunity to reduce elementary school class sizes over time. I'll explain that in a minute, by funding some elementary school positions. And it also allows us to begin to understand how can we better address the needs of our English language learners with a small allocation of money to support coming up with a plan to address the needs of our ELL students. The next part is actually there's some money in the CIP to try to look at how can we increase elementary school classrooms here in the North Andover Public Schools. As many of you may know, our elementary school class sizes are just too big. However, the challenge is, even with additional staff, we really don't have many places to put additional elementary school classrooms. So one of the things that we are asking is for some money to try to come up with a study, contract some folks to help us figure out where best to use some funding to try to increase the number of elementary school classrooms here in the North Andover Public Schools so that we can ultimately reduce elementary school class sizes, which we all agree are just too big. In fact, the North Andover Public Schools has the 6th highest average class size in the state of Massachusetts. Let me just say that again, the 6th highest average class size in the state of Massachusetts. And that actually is a result of the fact that we are the 19th lowest spending district in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That means that the vast majority, 94% of districts in Massachusetts, spend more per pupil than we do, which results in larger class sizes. So as we try to address that issue, we need to make sure we have the space to try to get more elementary school classrooms so we can bring elementary school class sizes down. And then the other thing I really wanted, a number of folks have talked to me about, as you know, there is a proposal, a citizen's proposal, to reduce the meals tax here in North Andover, which is anticipated would be about a $500,000 decrease to the budget. And I just wanted to say, people say, well, what does that mean for the schools? And what it really does mean to the schools, given that we traditionally have a 68-32 split, we would take 68% of that reduction. And if that was the case, it's basically the amount of money that we had put into our budget for proposed increases, which includes restoring the librarians, restoring world language to the middle school, also addressing elementary school class size issues, and trying to really make sure we're meeting the needs of our English language learners. So obviously, from the school's perspective, we're very concerned about that reduction in funding. So I really do hope you come to the town meeting on May 10th at 7 p.m., and I look forward to discussing these issues more with you. Thanks so much.
Local poet laureate Karen Klein hosted a poetry jam last Friday in the high school's library during the students' lunch break. Students got up and read some of their favorite poems. A few even played their favorite songs. Let's check out some of the highlights from the event.
It's called Hammock. Grandma sent the hammock, the good Lord sent the breeze. I'm here to do the swinging, now who's going to move the trees?
Where errors were not lessened, all may judge. At thy return, my blushing was not small. My rambling brat in print should mother call. I cast thee by as one unfit for light. Thy visage was so irksome in my sight.
Somewhere I have never traveled, gladly beyond.
Ooh, okay.
Somewhere I have never traveled, gladly beyond. Any experience, your eyes have their silence. And your most frail gesture are things which enclose me, or which I cannot touch because they are too near. Your slightest look easily will unclose me, though I have closed myself as fingers. You open.
A minor bird. I have wished a bird would fly away, and not sing by my house all day. Have clipped my hands at him from the door, when it seemed as if I could bear no more. The fault must partly have been with me, the bird was not to blame for his key. And of course there must be something wrong in wanting to silence any song.
With ups so floating many bells down, spring, summer, autumn, winter, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. Women and men, both little and small, cared for anyone, not at all. They sowed their isms, they reaped their same, sun, moon, stars, rain. Children guessed, but only a few, and down they forgot as they grew, autumn, winter, spring, summer, that no one loved him more by more.
The agreement's made softly plain. The narrow finger of the street points away from me now. It is better to spin around a palm tree fruiting like crows. Grass stretches over the low windows. The beetles walk through the door from the field. Every morning plans to make me whole.
Montar en el caballo, la espalda se le cayó. Por decir, maldita sea, dijo maldita sea. El rey que la estaba oyendo de amores se convertir. Madre, los ojos de Marcos son hembra, no de varón. Convolvida, tu hijo mío, a los ríos a nadar. Que si ella fuese hembra, no se querría desnudar.
So this one's called The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could go, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as far, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same.
It goes 5 syllables here and 7 syllables there. Are you happy now?
Every teacher would be.
I'm open your clothes. Where follow you go. I won't see your face. Light up again to the best.
You can check out the whole poetry jam right here on the CAM station or find out more about it on our YouTube page. We sat down recently with Donna Delaney of North Andover Senior Center to learn a little bit about their Triad program.
Triad's a community safety initiative that focuses on empowering, educating, and improving the safety, security, and peace of mind of the senior population. We have seniors that volunteer to come in and sit on the board, and we also have the police, the firemen, people from the housing authority come and help us out. It's quite a nice group of professionals, plus the input from the seniors. And right now, we're looking for more seniors. So we need a person to be a chairperson and the assistant chairperson, and also we need a secretary that has some computer skills. The secretary would have to take the minutes and be able to put them out in email format. It's somewhat of a board in that it has officers, just 3 officers. That's all we're asking for. We've had the same officers for years, and they feel that their time is up, they're ready to move on to something else. So we'd like to get some new people in position. And it's a very gratifying experience because you're doing something to help your local townsfolk. We meet every third Tuesday of the month. Generally, we meet here at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center. If we take on a project that involves housing, we like to get there earlier and do a program such as an educational piece on fire safety or ID theft, any kind of preventative methods that we can teach people. Well, during the meetings, we usually plan new programs for the year. And this could include a grab-and-go bag in case of an emergency. People are prepared with a tote bag with certain things such as an extra pair of glasses, a few days' worth of medications, and other things you can put in there, like a deck of playing cards. So if you're stuck somewhere for a while, you can break out the cards and entertain yourselves. Emergency preparedness is one component of it. The other, as I said, is ID theft. We can get people to come in and address ID theft and tell you how to keep yourself safe. It's keeping seniors safe in their homes by having enough reassurance that you can protect yourself, and if you're having issues, where do you go? Is this a call to the police? Is this a call to the fire? Should they call the senior center and talk to Donna Delaney? We would try to let people know what we have that we can offer to them. Yeah, and over this last summer, we started a program for cookouts, barbecues at the various housing authorities. There are 6 housing authorities in North Andover where people can live and rent an apartment. And we've gone out and done hot dog cookouts just to promote a better community spirit and get people active and get them out of their units and out in the fresh air and having hot dogs with friends and knowing that there are police and firemen who would come to these that are there to help them. And also it involves a custodian from each unit. We task him with cooking the hot dogs. Some people are just learning who their custodian is. So it creates a bond. It's more of a family feeling instead of a lot of strangers who only come together in a crisis. You can just hook up any town, and most towns do have Triad. It comes through the sheriff's office. Of course, we have the county sheriff's office right in Middleton, Mass., and they always send a representative to our meetings. And that's very helpful because it gives us an idea of what our limitations are or what direction we could be moving in to make a better program. We need to fill vacancies on our board, and we would also like seniors just to come in and sit in on our meetings to see what we're doing, and they may find a way they can help out. It's a very interesting program, and it does give you a chance to serve your community.
Thanks so much, Donna, for sharing that information. Triad really sounds like a great program for the senior citizens of North Andover. Speaking of great things for the citizens of the town, the police department and the fire department teamed up recently to make the You Care form. This form is one that will help first responders when called to the scene of an emergency. New Fire Chief Bill McCarthy and Lieutenant E.J. Folds took time out of their busy schedules to tell us a little bit more about the You Care form. Let's take a look.
Have you ever worried about what would happen if a family member, a loved one with a disability or other medical condition encountered an emergency? What information would be helpful to emergency responders? The North Andover Police and Fire Departments care about the service we provide to the community, and we're always looking for ways to improve that. With that in mind, we've created the Unique Care Alert Report Form.
What we're going to use that report for is if a family member has any type of disability, that information would assist us when we're responding to the home. It's something that we look for, and it would greatly help us in what we do as far as medical or any type of incident that we go to.
This program is totally free. It's voluntary. You're not required to sign up for it. Some people that may want to take advantage of this, if you have a loved one, a child, a parent who suffers from Alzheimer's, autism, mental or cognitive impairment, any information you feel would help emergency responders. When we're going to your home for an emergency, you're probably the type of person that needs to sign up for the You Care.
If it's a family member that might have difficulty moving or getting to the door, if it's a family member that might have oxygen in the home, those are important things that would help us in the event we do have to come to the home. We will have periods of sign up to do this form. We'll be beginning June 6th.
Yes.
And we'll be running that from June 6th, the end of the week, Monday through Friday. We're going to have it in different locations in town, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll have the sign up at the
Here at the police station.
And then on the June 7th and 9th, we'll be at the fire department from 4 to 7. And the North End Police Department's sign-ups will be June 6th, 8th, 10th, and that'll be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll also have a sign-up at the North End Senior Center, which will be on June 9th, and that'll be from 2 to 4.
Yes, and we're also going to have available sign-ins available at all the elementary schools, middle school, and high school. These are for, obviously, they're for students. You can register with the school's nurse, wherever your child attends. And the Housing Authority will be doing separate sign-ups for the North Andover Housing Authority. Those dates will be announced once we coordinate with the Housing Authority Director. Who can sign up for this? Basically, any individual that has a disability or a medical condition, they can sign themselves up. Parents or guardian of minor children can sign up their child. Anyone with power of attorney or a caregiver. You can sign up whoever you want, as long as they have a condition that you think we would benefit knowing that if we responded to your home.
And how that will work is, in the event there is an emergency at your home, that address will show up on our computer-aided dispatch system. An alert will be brought up on the screen. There'll be a link that the dispatcher will be able to go to, and that form will come up, and they'll be able to provide that information to the units, whether it's police, fire, or both of us responding, and that information will get right out to us. And we'll be aware of whatever was on that form. We'll know that going into the incident.
And all information provided is strictly confidential. It'll be police, fire, and any member of the UCARE team, the Universal Care Alert Report team. So we understand it contains some sensitive information to people, so we want to assure you that all information will be confidential.
This information will get out both on the North End Police and North End Fire Department website. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call me, Bill McCarthy, the Chief at the North End Fire.
Or you can contact me, Lieutenant E.J. Folds, in charge of the Criminal Investigation Division here at the North Andover Police Department. And we will have more information coming out in other media forms.
You can find out more information about the UCARE form on both the police department's and the fire department's websites. And before we end the show today, we'd like to tell you about some of the community events happening around town. The Sargent School is hosting an art fair social on Wednesday, April 27th from 5:30 until 8 p.m. The annual town meeting will be in the high school auditorium on May 10th at 6 p.m. And of course, the annual Sheep Shearing Festival is right around the corner and will be held on Sunday, May 22nd from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. right here on the North Andover Town Common. The North Andover Festival Committee is still looking for crafters for the Sheep Shearing Festival. For more information about how to get your business involved, you can call Jeff Coco at 978-490-6505. As always, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have a news story, segment, or idea, please send us an email at thejournal@northandovercam.org. That will wrap things up for this episode. I'm Morgan Healy. Thank you so much for joining us.